Years ago, I would teach this workshop and training on mantra practice. And people would come in, we would sit in a circle, and I would give them their beats, 108 beats for 108 repetitions. And we would sit down and I would walk them through their very first practice, meaning we would use the mala beats to recite a mantra like Om Shanti Om or Om Ganapataye Namaha to move through anything you may have as an intention as a spiritual practice. And I would usually start with something very simple. We might repeat just Om for 108 rounds or something like that. So a few things happened when I asked people after their very first practice of this. And I would ask them, what did you feel? What happened? And they would tell me occasionally, oh, Dhamma, like the mala beats were too light, they were too big, too small. The place that I'm sitting on wasn't comfortable, and I didn't like the music that was playing. I couldn't get comfortable here on my mat. Like there was sun shining on my head, like whatever. Like they would come up with all these different things. And I would say, congratulations, you just met yourself. And that was the beginning of their practice because the reason we come into spiritual practices like mantra practice or crystal healing or inner child healing is to meet yourself. And meeting yourself involves meeting all parts of yourself. And I would say to them, it's good news. It's not the mala, it's not the mat, it's not your clothing that feels uncomfortable, it's not the room that you're in, it's you. So, congratulations, you're at the beautiful starting point of rediscovering what it means to relate to yourself. And then we would do the practice again, but this time focusing on really allowing whatever was happening inside of them. So, all this to say, occasionally I get notes and emails from you, from my clients or students who get some of my meditation healing bundles or who are members of my online membership, healing membership, or who could come into contact with anything that I've created, really. And I would hear again, similar to the mantra practice, things like, oh, Damla, in this online course, you were laughing a lot, but you didn't smile enough. You spoke too loudly. You didn't speak loudly enough. Or this meditation, the music was too loud. And then this meditation, the music wasn't too loud. And so on and so forth. I guess you know where I'm going with this. It's not me, it's you. When you interact with any of my content, may it be a meditation, a healing, a teaching, whatever it is, a speech, you're meeting you. So if you find that there are certain things rising up in you, they're really coming up for you to look at. And I say this with a lot of compassion, what I'm going to say next, because I have been there. I am now meditating and on this self-healing and being a healer journey over 20 years. And I genuinely have been there where you are or where you may be, which is at the first time I was learning meditation, I actually sat down and I would ask everyone in the house to be quiet. Otherwise, I couldn't get into it. Like I would arrange the pillows and this and that. And of course, I know now that it wasn't the pillows, or it wasn't where I was sitting. It wasn't even um, any noise or music or anything. It was just me. I was just coming into contact with the chaos inside of me. And I am not above and beyond that. Let me say that. I still come into contact with my own chaos in my own spiritual practice. And I've learned to soften with it. I've learned to show gentleness to it. I've learned to roll with it. And that's what I teach others. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Um, Number one, I am not perfect. I am not in this version of my being, nor am I, or nor I'm claiming to be an enlightened being. I am an artist. Okay. I am a spiritual artist. I go into these places in these deep healing journeys, deep healing and meditative journeys. And then I come out and I'm like, aha, I need to share this with people. And then I share it with people. So that's what I do. I'm an artist. And I literally record all of my everything in this room. You can't see the room, but this is a small room filled with books and crystals and my things. And I don't have a professional studio. I have this, like, I don't know, 10-year-old mic. As I'm recording, I am not a sound engineer. I do my best to use a good quality microphone, of course. I do use copyright-free music. And whenever possible, I try to record anything I record, may it be a training, a meditation, a healing, as clearly as possible. But then occasionally there's like a, I don't know, a trash truck passing by. I'm like, please don't get reflected in the recording. Or someone in my family, we have this old creaky house. I'm like, please don't just open and close the doors, and they inevitably do. Or I might have just some birds singing outside. That I'm okay with, actually. I have a few healings and meditations where there's bird song in the in the recording. Okay, my point being, I am not perfect. Nothing I create is perfect, and I don't claim it to be. So that's number one. I'm not perfect. Newsflash, I'm doing my best with what I have. And that's to me enough. That's to me enough. My intention is perfect. What I'm intending to put into these things, which is love, that is perfect. And me as my human self and with my human instruments of a laptop and a microphone may not always be able to capture it as perfectly, but know that homeopathically, intentionally, that perfection is reflected in there, that love is reflected in there. That I can tell you. Okay, number two, I have so much love for you. I have so much love for you, which is why I create everything I create. I have so much love for you, and I see you wanting to reach that perfection, live into that perfection of love. And I know in my heart when you complain about the music in my recordings, or when you complain about the tone of my voice, when you complain about sometimes my English. English is not my first language, by the way. I was born in Turkey. I know you're so much harsher to yourself than you are to me. So I have so much compassion for you because I know I've been there. I know where that harshness comes from. That harshness comes from your wounding. That harshness comes from you not having met your needs, you living with energetic wounds, you living with intense anxiety and living through these intense times. Okay. So I have so much love for you. And I'm going to ask you to do better. I'm going to ask you to go deeper. I'm going to ask you to go back to that particular meditation that you hated. That particular meditation that you hated is the medicine. I'm going to ask you to go back in there, but this time with compassion towards yourself. and towards me, to the imperfect creator. Please and thank you. So just a little compassion towards me and a lot of compassion towards yourself. Go back into that meditation, into that healing, into that practice. And this time, the listening needs to happen with the ears of your soul, not with your wounded self. Listen with your soul. And I can promise you, if you go there with this intention of really tuning into what matters, not the noise, not the chaos, not your wounding that's coming up for you to see. That's what that is, that complaint, not liking the temperature of the room, not liking your clothing, the ground that you lay on. That's all your wounding coming up for you to see. Instead of that noise, if you can bring yourself to a state of being able to hold the noise, that's the point. That's the point of all this spiritual practice, is for you to meet yourself. Again, it's not me, it's not the meditation, it's not the healing, it's not your crystals who are like falling off of your body. It's not that. It's you meeting you. That's the issue. And that's the healing balm that you need. You got to be able to meet yourself to be able to hold yourself in love. You got to be able to meet yourself to say, okay, I've met myself. This was really unpleasant. Can I be with it? And then you be with it in the holding of that container of that spiritual practice, with may it be crystal healing, meditation, or something else, or EFT tapping. And then when later on something else happens in your life, you realize, oh, this is an opportunity for me to meet myself again. Like I'm getting irritated. I'm meeting myself. Things are coming up that I haven't resolved yet, that I haven't looked into yet. How beautiful. How beautiful that I'm aware that I'm meeting myself. It's not this other person, it's me. And maybe sometimes it's them, but you got to meet yourself first to be able to put healthy boundaries in place. Okay. Point being, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. This practice that we call life and the spiritual practices that we do are not perfect. And neither of these things have to be. I don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. The spiritual practice doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to keep coming back to compassion. We just need to keep coming back to love and to realizing that, certain things that come up in your practice are certain impulses of you trying to fix, change, point out, complain about. All of these things are trauma responses. They are wounding responses. They're not responses of love. Because I know if you looked at me with love, if you really saw, I'm gonna get emotional, but if you really saw how much heart and soul and love I put into everything, there's no way you could complain. There's no way. And I'm so grateful for all the people who do see that, for all the people who are here with me, watching, practicing alongside with me, or with everything that I create. I'm grateful to all of you. Um, and I want to say this with love. This spiritual healing thing is no joke. It's not always a picnic. And yes, you're going to meet yourself every step of the way. And you're going to go into that deep meditation one day, deep healing one day with something I created, I hope. And then you'll say to me, Damla, that was amazing. And I'm going to be like, oh my God, so beautiful. And then the next day, you're going to go into it again and you're going to meet yourself again. Guess what? This time from a different vantage point, from a different layer, from a different spiraling growth point in your journey. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it for my own journey. I'm here for your journey. I'm here for this Earth's journey. I mean, There's just a lot happening right now. Um, so I say this with love. Please be really kind to yourself. Please be really compassionate to yourself when you meet yourself, whether it's in spiritual practice or if it's in real life. Just let's just be compassionate with ourselves because these are really, really, really challenging times. And that's all I'm gonna say. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is Damla Aktekin, and I'm an inner child crystal healer, inner child intuitive reader, an astrologer, and a writer. Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you.